This is absolutely one of those amazing moments in an interview that you're about to watch that stuns somebody into silence. It's almost as if they've never thought about the question that you just asked them. As obvious as it seemed to everybody else. You're looking at Ben and Jerry, the ice cream guys. They're also known for their controversial politics, and they sat down with a reporter from Axios and HBO, and she dismantled them with some great questions during this interview. Watch as Ben short circuits after being asked one of these questions and just doesn't know what to say.
If you disagree with the Israeli government policy, why not just stop sales completely?
Well, I disagree with the U.S. policy. We couldn't stop selling in the U.S. I think it's fine to be involved with a country, to be a citizen of a country, and to protest some of the country's actions. And that's essentially what we're doing.
All right, here we go.
To Israel.
Watch this.
We hugely support Israel's right to exist, but we are against a particular policy.
You guys are big proponents of voting rights. Why do you still sell ice cream in Georgia? Texas, abortion bans. Why are you still selling there?
I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting question.
Oh, I love that. I want to go back over that because I want to give you some analysis real quick before we get into what's actually going on here and the nitty gritty of what they're talking about. And I'll play you a little bit more. But she starts off asking them about Israel, and they have stopped selling their ice cream in occupied Palestinian territory. This is just a drop in the bucket for them. It's probably not that many sales at all. And she starts setting them up to do the rope-a-dope move here, where she's like, if this is a principled stand you're taking politically, why don't you take that stand in Georgia or in Texas or in any other variety of states? Well, the answer is because our company will crumble. But they don't know how to say that in this interview. So here we go.
If you disagree with the Israeli government policy, why not just stop sales completely?
Well, I disagree with the U.S. policy. We couldn't stop selling in the U.S.
We couldn't stop selling in the U.S., implying that we will take a principled stand. We will make our virtues known. But there are certain things we just can't do because financially we'll take too big of a hit. So we can't make that political stance.
I think it's fine to be involved with a country, to be a citizen of a country, and to protest some of the country's actions. And that's essentially what we're doing in terms of Israel. We hugely support Israel's right to exist, but we are against a particular policy.
So he's laying it out now. We're against their particular policy, so therefore we're not going to sell in this place. So it's about this policy. Well, there are other policies that I'm sure you're upset by, but you still sell in places like Georgia and Texas, and this is why he just totally short circuits.
You guys are big proponents of voting rights. Why do you still sell ice cream in Georgia? Texas, abortion bans. Why are you still selling there?
I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting question. I don't know what that would accomplish. We're working on those issues of voting rights and. I don't know. I think you ask a really good question, and I think I'd have to sit down and think about it for a bit.
Yeah, because we're not going to stop selling in two major states in the United States of America. This guy realizes it with a smile on his face because we do want to be super political and we want to have that aesthetic politics in the forefront of our brand, embracing all of these different groups like Black Lives Matter, et cetera, and certainly being on this side of the Israeli-Palestinian argument. It's fashionable. It's Hollywood. It's the glitterati statement. But that face realizes we still need to sell ice cream to Georgia and Texas. We're going to have to make that happen. I almost appreciate him for the candor of saying, well, I don't know. Axios runs with this story saying Ben & Jerry's stumped by Texas and Georgia. By the way, one of my favorite things is when somebody interviews Ben & Jerry and you have a situation like this, Ben always stays over on the left and then Jerry on the right. So it's Ben, Jerry, just like the brand name, makes it easy to know who's who. And that's how you know what was going on there. But they talked about how they did not really know what to say and admitted that they don't know how to hold states like Georgia and Texas accountable when they pass laws with which they disagree. Well, maybe the real enlightenment here will come from the fact that you're a corporation and let people hash it out on their own in these states. And this has been something that's been pushed for a long time. This is an old group saying boycott Ben & Jerry's, peace, love, and occupation don't mix. They know that Ben & Jerry's is a very left-aligned brand, and they know that they can get them to move and do stuff, albeit on a small scale. So they did. And here was from benandjerry.com or benjerry.com. Ben & Jerry's will end sales of our ice cream in the occupied Palestinian territory. We believe it's inconsistent with our values for Ben & Jerry's ice cream to be sold in the occupied Palestinian territory. We also hear and recognize the concerns shared with us by fans and trusted partners. We have a long-standing partnership with our licensee who manufactures the ice cream in Israel and distributes it in the region. We've been working to change this, so we have informed our licensee we will not renew the license agreement when it expires at the end of next year. So technically, this person is still making this till the end of 2022. Although Ben & Jerry's will no longer be sold in the OPT, we will stay in Israel through a different arrangement. We will share an update on this as soon as we're ready. It's a very, very tiny little move, but it was done to be like, yes, we believe you. We have the same politics you do. We are woke Ben & Jerry's. And then the people who got him to do it bragged about it. We got Ben & Jerry's to stop selling in Israeli settlements. Here's how we did it. It wasn't enough for them. They wanted more and more out of the brand that was willing to go out there and take the tiniest of stands. But of course, not willing to follow those same principles, as the Axios reporter pointed out in the Jenga block question that dropped the entire tower. Why don't you do this consistently? And they've faced some backlash for doing this to begin with. They said that Ben & Jerry's now facing a boycott over in Texas. They designated Ben & Jerry's as a company that boycotted Israel, and they were going to pull some money out of their parent company, Unilever. And there are also other states doing this. In fact, you'll see New Jersey, where they're doing a divestment of Unilever stocks as well. And in the case of New Jersey, it was $182 million in stocks, bonds, and short-term paper. That's quite a bit of money. And then if you go over to Florida, $139 million in Unilever, the parent company of Ben & Jerry's. A huge headache for Ben & Jerry's, for Unilever, and for everybody, because they decided to get in the world of politics. And then once they waded in, they could not be consistent enough to keep themselves from having one of these moments in an interview. And you could swim. You could swim in the air around that question when he was asked it.
And that's essentially what we're doing in terms of Israel. We hugely support Israel's right to exist, but we are against a particular policy.
You guys are big proponents of voting rights. Why do you still sell ice cream in Georgia? Texas, abortion bans. Why are you still selling there?
I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting question. I don't know what that would accomplish. We're working on those issues of voting rights and I don't know.
He realized he would have to kill his business to stick to his principles. What do you think about this? What do you think about when these companies take political stances like this? And what do you think about the situation this clever reporter, who I think was doing a good job of keeping things fair, caught the founders of Ben & Jerry's in? Give me your comments down below. As always, if you're new around here at facebook.com/thenewsjunkie, hit that follow button for videos just like this every day. Over at youtube.com/thenewsjunkie, hit subscribe. Thank you to my supporters who help out. And you can see how to do that over on the Facebook page and the YouTube page. Supporters, you keep everything rolling around here. So thank you so much for tossing a little extra cash to keep the engine running. It's very much appreciated. As I do appreciate you watching this video as well. I'll tell you that as I leave you for the day. So thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again real soon.